Lloris, open to selling. Right, that's it. We're going straight into it. I think for me personally, Lloris is still a pretty good goalkeeper. However, we do have to start thinking for the future a little bit. And for me, I think there are some pretty good keeping options out there that we should try and potentially get in the summer. Plus, there's a lot of rumors that Lloris might want to leave and go to PSG or Lille or Nice, like back to France basically. So, to be honest with you, I am open to selling if we can replace him with a very good goalkeeper like Nick Pope or Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson, not so much as he's going to be Man U's #1, but if we can get a great replacement, then I'll be open to selling him. Yes, guys, as you've guessed it, we are back and we are doing a Tottenham tier list. Now, we've done a couple of these in the past. I say if they're world class or rubbish, whatever. We've done that. You've seen that many times. Now, what I'm doing, because it's near the end of the season, is ranking the players on whether we should keep them, give them a new contract, or we should get rid of them and look for potential replacements. Summer's coming up. Spurs aren't doing that well. We need to start looking at our squad and seeing which players we can potentially get rid of or which ones we need to prioritize and keep. So with that being said, we're starting off with the defenders. Next in goal, Joe Hart. At the end of the day, he's just a dressing room player. He's got bags of experience and a lot of leadership. I personally wouldn't play him, but to be honest with you, he's probably a decent keeper to have in the dressing room. So I'm not so sure, but I'd be inclined to keep him. Gazzaniga, another goalkeeper, hasn't really seen his time at Spurs. He's on loan at the moment. I can never see him being #1, and he doesn't quite have the experience that Joe Hart does, and he hasn't won anywhere near as much as Joe Hart has done. So I'm just going to stick him in, not sure. Good backup, not amazing. We'll see. Sergio Reguilon, one of my favourite players at Spurs, the Spanish left back. I think personally that was probably one of our best signings last summer, and we don't really need to actually give him a new contract, but I'm 100% sticking him in that top tier. I know we've got the whole Real Madrid situation where they might try and buy him back. We need to try and stop that at all costs. And to be honest with you, it's down to the player. If he's happy and we're doing well, which, you know, obviously we need to start doing better to convince him to stay, then yeah, I think we need to do our utmost to try and keep him, because he's one of the best left backs we've had since, you know, prime Danny Rose. Speaking of Danny Rose was an incredible player for us. It started to fade away, and I really don't like the way the club's treated him in terms of not even giving him a squad number. And he's one of the very few players that have actually talked about his mental health, and I think it's going to be best for him if we can find him a new club, because I desperately want him playing football again, and evidently that's not going to happen at Spurs. So it's got to be in the sell category. Danny, you're definitely probably not watching this, but I hope you're doing all right. If you are, we'll hopefully try and get you a new club in the summer. Japhet Tanganga. Now, he is a youngster that is starting to get a lot more game time in the team, and I like him personally. He's definitely a great squad player to have, one to watch for the future. So you know what, I'm just going to stick him in the keep category. Matt Doherty. Now, I know there's tweets from me saying what a steal he was, only 12 million. Yeah, it hasn't quite turned out that way. I ain't gonna lie to you, I was sold a dream, and lo and behold, all it's done is actually made Aurier look a lot better. I want him to improve, but every time we give him a chance, he doesn't. So for me, I'd say sell and look for a better option. Now on to the other side, Ben Davies. For me, Ben Davies is always that player that just gives average performances every game. It's just enough to get by. He's never outstanding. He's very rarely absolutely trash. I mean, there's been a couple of games this season, don't get me wrong. If I'm being totally honest, I would be open to selling him as long as we can get another good left back. Now, the next defender is Davinson Sanchez. Yes, he may have had a bad game against Newcastle, but what I do want to say is I think it's absolutely disgraceful that there are so-called fans out there that are sending him racist comments really on his Instagram post, forcing him to post it on his Instagram story. To be honest with you, I expected a lot better from this fan base, and I'm calling out to you guys right now. If you see it from anyone, if you know anyone, please just like educate yourself and others around you. I think it's really, really important that we kind of stop this sort of abuse. I mean, abuse is bad enough, but to be racist, I think is disgusting, and it's totally fine to have an opinion on him as a footballer. Please just do not send racist abuse. Now to the actual football at hand. When we signed him from Ajax, I had such high hopes for him. It's been, maybe 4 years now, and he just has not reached anywhere near that potential. I thought he was going to be a Delit level of player. Look, Spurs need a massive overhaul in defence, and I'm 100% open to selling if that means funding a Skriniar. Toby Alderweireld, one of my favourite players at the club, who's been kind of shunned recently. It's a bit of a sticky one because, let's face it, he's not getting any younger. We do need to start looking to the future again, as I said with Lloris. He's one of those players that's just on the edge of needing him in the squad for the experience and the know-how and the leadership, but then also, we do have to thinking of new players to bring in, 2 new centre-backs potentially. You know what, I'm going to say keep, because I do think we need that experience and leadership in the side, but we do seriously have to look and start bringing in some new top quality centre-backs and start building a solid core and foundation for the club. Next up is Serge Aurier, and this is a player that, you know what, yeah, I would have criticised in the past plenty of times. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did in the previous tier list. However, I think he's improved massively. However, there have been a lot of rumours of him leaving in the summer. I mean, he already tried to leave to Milan, AC Milan that is, last year. If I'm being honest, I think he's going to leave in the summer, so I'll be open to selling him, but that does mean we have to start looking at other right back options now. Joe Rodon, a centre back, which to be honest with you, I don't think we've seen enough of this season. I'm putting him in keep. He's showing signs of a good centre back, but then again, we still just haven't seen enough of him. I definitely think we should keep him. We only just got him last summer. He's showing some good signs. We'll keep him and see how he develops in the future. Now on the final defender, was a midfielder, is a defender, Eric Dyer. I know Mourinho desperately wanted him to make him his new John Terry or something, but it clearly hasn't worked out. Let's be honest, he probably gets in the team most of the time because he speaks Portuguese, so I definitely think we should probably sell Dyer this summer. So that's all the defenders done, but I need to remind you guys, I think about 60% of you aren't subscribed. Do me a favor, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. In the last video I did where I made custom no-to-waste football boots for Calux, I said if I get to 100k subscribers by the end of the year, I will do a big Tottenham prank on him. He's an Arsenal fan, all right? So it should be a good one. So make sure we get to 100k by the end of the year by clicking that subscribe button down below. But now it's time to move on to the midfielders. Gio Lo Celso, he's been injured for a lot of this season, finally came back. I do think he's a very good player, but I do agree with a lot of other fans that he's not quite getting the Eriksen-esque returns that we were expecting. There's definitely a great player within him, so I'm going to say keep. We'll see where he goes from next season. Harry Winks. I used to back him massively because there were a lot of games in the past where I felt like he offered us a bit of solidity. I know a lot of people were saying that he just passes left and right, but there are some games and some situations where, to be honest with you, possession is very important. He's not quite strong enough or big enough to be a defensive midfielder, but not quite creative enough to be an attacking midfielder. So doesn't really have a place, especially in a Jose Mourinho side. I think going forward, if I'm being honest with you, it's probably best for him as well. If he wants to get more game time, that we need to sell him. So I think we probably should sell Harry Winks. Moussa Sissoko, you know what? I'm going to straight up just put in him not sure. Now, don't get me wrong. I think his technical ability is just like, it's pretty much not there. But just like Jose Mourinho was surprised in the documentary in All or Nothing, it's strange how much of an influence Sissoko has in the dressing room. And we don't really see that as much as fans. That's why I'm in not sure. Ideally, I'd like to sell him, but if then we just start getting rid of all the players and I've got no idea who would we replace him with. Let me know in the comment section down below, if we were to sell Sissoko, who would be your ideal replacement for him? Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, one of my favourite players at Spurs this season, the general. You would have seen in my transfer targets one way back when, I think a year ago now, I said I wasn't too impressed with potentially signing him, and that's because I didn't really know anything about him. And at that time, he was basically refusing to play for Southampton because he wanted to move away. But you know what, after getting to know the player and seeing what he's done for Spurs, he is a true leader and definitely potential captain. I'll put him at the top in the new contract. I've been very, very impressed with him. Jedson, I mean, I don't know why he's on this list. He's already gone. Stick him straight in sell, sell, sell. Dele Alli, man. And this is the one that disappoints me. He's the type of player we've been missing a lot in this Jose Mourinho team. And I genuinely thought Jose Mourinho would be the man to bring out the old Dele. But to be honest with you, I feel like he has given him, especially fairly recently, he's given him a lot of chances. When he does play, I just still don't see that spark in him anymore. And it depresses me because I just know how good of a player he can be. For me, I'd be open to selling him. But like I said, with all these open to selling players, we have to find a top quality replacement. Sabitzer, potentially one of them. Tanguy Ndombele, now this is a player that, you know what, everyone knows I like him, right? But I think he's starting to grow into the team so much more this season. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some games where he doesn't look his best, but a lot of players have been like that this season. But for me, he's been top tier and definitely a player we need to focus on keeping in the summer. Guys, if you haven't turned that notification bell on, please do so. We'll be uploading regularly from now on. I'm going to be DMing some footballers to try and see if they'll join Spurs in the summer. I've got some other ideas coming up very soon. So if you want to be notified when those come out, then please hit that bell right below. Now, let's get on with the forwards. Lucas Moura. Now, Lucas Moura, I think, is a very, very good squad player. When he gets the ball, he looks to go forward and drives forward, which a lot of our players don't necessarily do. I do think we can aim for better when it comes to starters. So you know what? I'm going to put him in keep because I think he's a great squad player. Eric Lamela. Now, where I stand on Lamela, I feel like he's like Marmite, right? He's 50-50 amongst fans. You either hate him or you love him. For me, personally, it's been 7 years. And I understand he has immense work rate, but I'm not being funny. You stick me in a Spurs shirt and I'll have immense work rate because I love the club. Doesn't mean I'm a good enough footballer to play for the team. The end product just isn't there, man. The goals and assists speak for themselves. The fact he had to be Bale's replacement, but then we needed Bale to come back to replace Bale, I think tells you everything you need to know. I think we should sell him and look for better options. Steven Bergwijn, man. This guy was so promising when we signed him. Scored a great goal in his debut, scored against both Manchester clubs, but has been pretty lackluster since. I think he's still very young. What is he, only like 23 years old? When you look at his PSV highlights, he always used to take on the defense and look so good and skillful doing it. Most of the time in a Spurs shirt, he doesn't take on the defenders and kind of just passes it back. I feel like he's a player that we just need to get his confidence back. Look, he's still young. I'm going to put him in keep. There's no reason to sell him this soon. Gareth Bale, one of my favourite players growing up, unfortunately has not quite been the welcome back to Spurs I think we all hoped. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm going to have to put him in the not sure. Yeah, if we were offered another year on loan, I'd probably take it. It means a lot to the fans as well. And I know we'd want to see him at the Spurs Stadium playing alongside Son and Kane in front of our own eyes. However, if that wage money can be spent better elsewhere, then I might take up that offer. So I'd stick him right in the middle in the not sure. Heung-min Son, Sonny, my guy. I mean, no words needed, man. I know he's dipped a bit recently in form and got injured, but there's no denying he's one of the best wingers in the league. I don't think I need to say much about it. I know we are actually in discussions to give him a new contract, and I hope it gets done as soon as possible because I do not want to see him go to the likes of Madrid, Bayern, all these places he's been linked to. It's a no-brainer to try and pen Son to a new deal. So yeah, I'll stick him in the top tier. Next on to our Brazilian striker, Carlos Vinicius, a player that seemed to show his worth in the Europa League, not so much in the Premier League, finally scored the other week. This one, I'm going to have to stick him in not sure alongside Gareth Bale, and I'll tell you why. It is totally dependent on that price tag. If it drops significantly, then I'd be happy to buy him as a second striker. If not, I think we should look at other options. There's good Premier League proven players like Danny Ings that we could get as a backup option. Even Aguero's available for a free. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, it's totally dependent on that asking price. So for now, we'll stick it in the middle tier, not sure. Now, the next and final man that needs no introduction is Harry Kane, the golden boy at Tottenham, the soon-to-be goal-scoring record breaker that is Harry Kane. I'd be an idiot not to put him in the new contract ASAP. We need to be able to fend off all these big clubs that are going to try and sign him in the summer. There's been a lot of chat from Sky Sports every 30 seconds about him needing to go to a new club to win trophies. It just doesn't stop. They don't rest. Luckily for us, I think a lot of clubs won't be able to afford him. I mean, we're talking at least 175 mil Daniel Levy's asking for him, and I don't think many clubs can afford that. Hopefully Kane's with us in the next season, but yeah, one player that we have to make sure we keep in the summer is definitely Harry Kane. All right, guys, that's my Spurs tier list all the way from the top at new contract, top tier, must keep for next season, all the way to the bottom of players we should sell and try and find replacements for. If you like this kind of content, please leave a like down below, and also just comment if you agree with what I've said. If you disagree with any of them, I'm just here to open discussions, all right? And also subscribe if you're new, because yeah, like I said, we need to get to 100k so we can do the Spurs prank on Calux, and I shall see you guys for the next video. Peace.